Well, welcome to another Vidrash. This is where you send in questions and I try to answer them. So let's get into it, shall we? So today's question is, what Bible verses command us to keep Purim as a feast day? Isn't that just a man-made tradition? Well, the answer to that is there is no command to observe Purim, and I might add this could also apply to Hanukkah. So there's no command to observe Purim, and we don't suggest that there is a command to do it, or we don't suggest it's required that you keep Purim. In fact, I'm not aware of anybody who says that it's commanded, but at the same time, there is no command that prohibits us from observing Purim. And as I said, we can apply this to Hanukkah as well. Yeah, Purim was instituted by men after it was apparent that God had delivered them from certain death. I mean, the entire book of Esther is a testament to the fact that God's always working behind the scenes on behalf of his people. In fact, long before they realize that they're in need of help. I mean, you look at the book of Esther, and the very fact that this Benjamite girl, Hadassah, is chosen to be the queen of Persia, I don't think that was happenstance. The fact that the king of Persia, he realizes, I didn't thank Mordecai for saving me from an assassination. I think God put that in his mind. So again, the point is that even though God is not mentioned by name, not even really hinted at really, it's obvious if you're discerning that he was behind the scenes. He's working things out. And as I said, long before God's people even realized that there was a need. So that being said, why wouldn't we want to observe a celebration that acknowledges the hand of God at work on behalf of his people? In other words, just because customs are man-made doesn't mean that all customs are bad. In fact, I think that some customs are good and very beneficial to us who are trying to keep his commands. For instance, every Shabbat, we gather our children under the chuppah to bless them, and that's a custom. It's not a commandment, but it is a custom that brings attention to the need for parents to bless their children and not curse their children. There are a lot of customs that are built around keeping the commands. Like another example, there's no command to light candles at the beginning of Shabbat. It's not required, but it's a nice custom because it highlights the fact that Shabbat is a special time. It's a set apart time, and it's to be distinguished from all other days. And so, yeah, even though it's a custom, lighting candles at the beginning of Shabbat reinforces the idea that Shabbat is set apart. And I would argue, especially in the eyes of children. Now, that being said, customs and traditions should never be elevated to the level of what is commanded. There is a difference. In fact, that's what got people in trouble with Messiah. In other words, he didn't really have an issue with their customs per se. He took issue with them when they made their customs to be equal or in some cases superior to what God had commanded. That is the mindset as he addressed it. That's what made the commands of God of none effect, that thinking. Now, where Purim is concerned, and I would say that it's also true with Hanukkah, there are some traditions that have been added to these celebrations that we don't observe. But we are going to observe them in order to call attention to the story of Purim, or if it was Hanukkah, that story, and how the story inspires us even to this day. Purim doesn't oppose, it doesn't undermine godly principles. In fact, I'd strongly suggest it celebrates them. It's not like other man-made holidays, things like Halloween, that obviously and blatantly stand in stark contrast to what is holy and what's pure. But still, if someone doesn't feel comfortable observing Purim or Hanukkah, then don't. No harm, no foul. But at the same time, no one should try to discredit Purim or the essence of what Purim is all about, or, again, Hanukkah. And what is the essence of these holidays? God empowered his people to overcome their enemies, and then his people realized that when they were delivered from their enemies, that God is faithful to his promises. And I don't think anyone should criticize anybody from celebrating that.